The cold wind swept through the worn-out streets of a small Virginia town as Ethan Miller, a young man in his early 20s, walked home from his late-night shift at the diner. His jacket was thin, his shoes scuffed, and his hands rough from hard labor, but his spirit was still kind and steady. Ethan was known as the poor kid in town, a boy who had lost his father to illness and was now the only support for his aging mother and little sister. He had no luxury, no security, no big dreams left for himself, just survival. But life has a strange way of putting people exactly where they're meant to be. And that night, Ethan's world would collide with someone he never imagined meeting, in a way that would change both their lives forever. It happened by the riverbank just outside town. Ethan often took the longer way home along the water, not because it was safe, but because it was quiet. A place where he could breathe and let the weight of his struggles fall away for a few moments. The moonlight shimmered on the restless current, and at first he thought he heard the wind until he realized it was a cry, a desperate cry, a scream for help. His heart jolted, and before his mind could even process, his body was already sprinting toward the sound. His boots splashed mud, his breath came sharp, and then he saw her, a girl flailing helplessly in the rushing river, her arms rising and sinking under the waves, her voice cracking with fear. She was being pulled under. Without a second thought, Ethan ripped off his jacket and dove into the freezing water. The current fought him like a beast, pushing him under, but he pushed harder. He reached her just as she was going under again, her face pale, eyes wide with terror. "Hold on," he shouted, grabbing her wrist. She clung to him like she was clinging to life itself. It took everything in him, his strength, his lungs, his will, to drag her back toward the shore. When they collapsed on the riverbank, coughing and gasping, Ethan's body shook with exhaustion. The girl lay beside him, trembling, her long hair plastered to her face, her breath ragged. For a long moment, they both just stared at the sky, alive against all odds. "Why, you saved me," she whispered finally, her voice breaking. Ethan shook his head, still panting. Anyone would have done the same. But the truth was, not everyone would have. Only someone with a heart like Ethan's would have risked their life for a stranger. Her name, he soon learned, was Sophia Hayes. She had come to Virginia from California for what she called an escape. But what Ethan didn't know in that moment was that Sophia wasn't just any visitor. She was the daughter of one of the wealthiest families in California, heiress to a fortune most people could never dream of. That night, Ethan walked her back to the place she was staying, shivering in his damp clothes but refusing her offers of money or reward. "I didn't save you for that," he told her firmly. His pride was all he had, and he clung to it. But Sophia looked at him differently than anyone ever had, with a kind of respect, maybe even admiration. Over the next few days, Sophia sought him out. She learned that Ethan worked 2 jobs to keep food on the table, that his mother's health was fragile, and that his dreams of college had vanished the moment his father died. She also saw something else, that despite his poverty, Ethan's heart was rich. He was selfless, protective, and deeply compassionate. For Ethan, talking to Sophia felt strange at first. She was from another world, dressed in clothes worth more than his monthly rent, carrying an aura of privilege he could never touch. Yet beneath all of that, she wasn't arrogant. She was lonely. She admitted that in California, people only cared for her name, her money, her status, but not for her. In Ethan, she found something real. But life wasn't going to let their connection be simple. Rumors began to spread in town. People whispered about the poor boy and the rich girl, sneering behind Ethan's back. Sophia's family soon discovered her location and flew in, furious to find her with someone like him. Mr. Hayes, her father, stood tall and cold, his voice like steel when he told Ethan, "Stay away from my daughter. You don't belong in her world." The words stung, but Ethan stood his ground. With respect, "Sir," he said quietly, "your daughter's life mattered that night in the river, and it'll always matter, no matter what world she comes from." Still, the disapproval was crushing. Sophia was torn between her family's expectations and her heart, which was slowly learning to beat for Ethan. And Ethan, he faced the cruel laughter of neighbors, the weight of his own insecurity, and the fear that maybe, just maybe, love like this wasn't meant for someone like him. Yet, through every challenge, they held on. When Ethan's mother fell sick again, Sophia was there in the hospital, refusing to leave his side. When Sophia's father threatened to take her back to California permanently, she declared with fire in her eyes that her choices were hers alone. And slowly, Mr. Hayes began to see something he hadn't expected. He saw how Ethan treated his daughter not as a prize or a pathway to wealth, but as a person. He saw the courage it took for a poor Virginia boy to risk his life in that river. And for the first time, he realized that money couldn't buy the kind of integrity Ethan had. In the end, Ethan didn't just save Sophia from drowning, he saved her from a life of emptiness, from a world where love was overshadowed by wealth. And Sophia, in return, brought light into Ethan's weary life, showing him that even someone who had nothing could be worthy of everything. Their love story wasn't perfect. It was tested by class, pride, illness, and doubt. But every challenge they faced only proved one thing: that true connection doesn't care about where you're from or how much you have. It only cares about the heart. And so, what began as a desperate rescue in a cold Virginia river became the beginning of a love that would inspire everyone who heard it. A reminder that kindness, courage, and love can cross any boundary, heal any wound, and change lives in ways we never expect.